squad, so they have a huge uphill battle, and they know that they have this. They're trying to make it less of an uphill battle, but in order to do that, they have to beat TSM.
Well, we'll see if they kind of go for comfort picks once again. I believe that's kind of what everybody has as the great opinion is pick what you have been playing usually. Like we mentioned before, Team Dragon Knights, Bishu, Latman, and Smoothie did not expect to be playing against Bjergsen, Wild Turtle, and Lustboy and the rest of the team this week.
So there's a bit of confusion right here. On the broadcast, it shows loss of ban, but in the champion select, they have actually banned 3 champions. So I'll get a clarification about whether they actually lost bans in both of their games this week, or if it was not this game and there was just a miscommunication with broadcast. Because the bans that I am seeing are Alistair, Rise, and LeBlanc at the moment.
It did pop up on the
first pick
champion select. It's first pick Kalista. We will update in just a second with TDK's bans.
And if this was an erroneous error of them to be allowed to ban, and they'd have to remake champion select, or if this is the intended champ select.
30 seconds left on the clock here as we start to pan out. It is known that Team Solomid kind of prioritizes Kalista with what we're seeing so far. They ban out Evelyn as their last one as well. Kez definitely being the shot caller, the more focus of the team for TDK in the early game, so why not hit him on his Nidalee and Evelyn?
Yeah, I agree, and I got confirmation that TDK is allowed to ban this game. They were penalized for yesterday's game having no bans. This game, they have all of their bans. The graphic will be updated shortly, and here we go.
Graphics will be updated for you shortly on the right side, so you can see the bans again. Alistar, Rise, and LeBlanc banned by Team Dragon Knights. So that Grag is taken by Kez. Still have a bit of Rek'Sai available. Haven't seen a lot of Sejuani lately.
Yeah, definitely some fall-off. Sejuani received a couple of nerfs, as well as Gragas.
Seen in other regions.
Yeah.
People still throwing some games at her.
Having the big plays. Rek'Sai is available for TSM. I would kind of expect Santorin to be playing that. They've been prioritizing it fairly heavily, even though, in my opinion, some of Santorin's worst games have came on Rek'Sai. But she, as a champion, still very strong. I got the gender right today. Thank you very much, Internet. Of course, Rek'Sai's not in this game.
Of course. The Rumble is, however, possibly for Dyrus. And the Annie. Looks like they're actually trying to light things up here. Lustboy on Annie. Be pretty aggressive. So the ban's now on your screen as we get those filtered back out so we can see the whole deal and what Team Dragon Knights wanted to stop TSM from getting. Lustboy's Bard is actually still up, but the Annie gets picked even so.
Most likely going to be Annie support.
Yep.
Annie Kalista, tremendous lane. Something that TSM yet to run so far this split, but incredible 2v2 power. Maybe even forcing a lane swap away from Latman and Smoothie if they don't want to suffer the consequences of that lane. And I really wonder what TDK is going to be going here to try and pick up a win. It almost seems that the champions that Seraph has been playing, you know, Rumble, Vladimir, Aurelia, Rumble, and Mundo across his 5 games, I think he needs to pick something that he really has large game impact on. I would love to see him on Nidalee, but that's banned. Yeah. So at this point,
maybe a hacker.
Do something a little bit crazy. Malphite and Vladimir being locked in means we're seeing at least something cool. They can flex that either side.
Keen's already played Malphite in the mid lane, so that could be his. Like you said, the flex could happen. Rek'Sai being locked in, or Hubbard actually, with the Azir as well. Team Solomid like this Kalista pick first for them, obviously being a priority pick, but you kind of look at what lane, you know, needs to start picking up. Wild Turtle and Lustboy, definitely with that Kalista, could start making some numbers happen for the team early game. Yeah,
Wild Turtle's actually having a very solid Kalista game against Team Dignitas, until, of course, he was caught out of position by the entire Team Dignitas team, which ended up in TSM's defeat.
Well, that's kind of why they're the ones that need to step up. And the Echo gets locked in.
Again?
Very nice.
All right.
I like it. Let's see what Bjerg's can do on this one. Remember, he did go 7-1-6 in their loss, which hopefully you can get a win out of that next time, because that's like an
top farm in the game.
Loss.
He was 7-0 going into the last fight. He was 6 full items. He had 750 ability power. He was having a very, very strong Echo game. But it only counts if you win.
Yeah.
So
almost only counts in horseshoes and hand.
I mean, just think about the amount of points you get in Champion Mastery. If you lose, you barely get any. The win's all that matters. Just get small bonuses for the grade.
The crowd wants Bard. Dragon Knights. Looks like they're going to go for Nautilus on this one. Last few chats with Smoothie. Gosh, these names. On the end there at the support. and they will be ready to go. TDK, for them to get a win here would be absolutely amazing. One, for the mentality. Two, just cause. To have a sub lineup come through with a win is definitely one you want to be able to grab. It could be 0-6 after this, and that's going to make the second half of the split, not even half yet, the second part of the split, very, very hard.
Yeah, now, what is support Malphite, I think, is what we have here. Maybe? See, this is what a sub-team should do, honestly. They should be messing with people. They have like 4 flex picks right now that can fly into different lanes. We have seen all of these things in time within the LCS. Like, we've seen support. So support Malphite was a thing for Green Tea, who used to play for the LMS region.
Yep.
And we saw him on AHQ last year at Worlds. He'd played a lot of support Malphite.
It is true.
In that league.
They also...
It's had some sparing play in the LCK and the LPL, but it is incredibly rare. And I'm pretty sure this is the first Malphite in the history of the LCS on support.
They have one hell of an initiation.
Please correct me if I'm wrong for saying that.
Do it. The game's about to go live, so tweet either hashtag TSM win or hashtag TDK win to @LOL Esports. As always, we will update those as we go through the game, and this is Bishu get some kills game right here. Everything basically sets him up for kills besides Vladimir and Corki. This is going to be one volatile game.
I love this TDK champ select. They threw Gargus in the jungle, which is normal. Vladimir in the top lane, but then the Yasuo Malphite thing at the end is just so awesome. Malphite Yasuo, by the way, is so fun to play.
Yep. Saw a nice EU combo.
And now they get the Malphite as support. He's not that bad of a support. We don't see him that often, but he can trade fairly well because he just charges up his passive shield. See, one time I was in a game as Malphite, you see how he has that little gray bar? I'll get into that later.
Indeed. We got a quick note from Dyrus to listen in, as Dyrus has actually had a lot of respect for Seraph and his journey back into the LCS, as we were talking before.
He was put into a really rough position with CLG, and he still worked at it, and he clawed his way back into the LCS through his own skills and own talents, along with the team he's brought with him.
Hopefully those talents can come to use once they get the main roster in here, because he has done a lot of work, and to see that go to the side would just be terrible.
Yes, it would. Back to support Malphite.
Back to support Malphite?
Yeah. The passive shield that Malphite gets at the start of the game, sometimes if you want to troll someone who's playing Malphite, just ask them why they have the shield mastery, because it looks like he has it, and they'll pretty much always think they have the wrong masteries, and then they'll remember they're playing Malphite, and that's part of the character. No one picks up that 50 health mastery on the defense tree. Other than that, though,
I played a Singed yesterday that did.
Did he win?
No.
That's too bad. Never wins. I've thought about using it for like some cheese jungle clears and stuff, but it's never worth it. Okay, I like him as a support. Good at taking Gromp early on in the game. If you're in a heavy physical damage lane, it's good. Against Annie, I don't necessarily think it's that great. But it's mainly just his ability to trade back and forth because of the passive shield.
See how much they can get down there. Stealing the movement speed of Kalista doesn't really do too much. So
yeah.
I don't know how much that's going to help in their engages in the bot lane. She's just still going to hop
Stealing
right
the move speed of a Kalista does not stop the distance of the hop. As I have been reminded by Zyrene so many times.
Yeah.
Loves talking about that. It's based on the boot rank.
Yeah.
For how far you hop back.
Right. See what this early game Smoothie can do. Not too smoothie on that one, that's for sure.
They got out level 2'd right there, and he took a whole bunch of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
Rock or not, he went down pretty fast. Kaz just walked over that ward above him, so Bjergsen can actually play this one nicely and kind of bait him out for a little bit longer. It looks like he's going to do so. And saying, yeah, completely, you have me tricked. Just waste a little time. Kaz, however, goes back nice and early.
Oh, this is great. So there was an amazing Yasuo versus Echo game in the LPL. It was IG versus LGD. So we got to see God V's Yasuo versus Rookie's Echo. And Kobe was like, man, what are the odds we see this in North America? None of these North American mid laners will be willing to pull out these champions. I'm like, I think we'll see it sometime. He's going to probably say that the story went somewhat differently. But Kobe, it's happening right now. We got Yasuo versus Echo. This is such an exciting lane to watch. All the dashing around, the dodging of the skill shots, especially when you have Echo's Time Winder with the tornado that Yasuo throws out. Being able to dodge in between those spells is just so entertaining.
Both Bjergsen and Bishu have had their time on Yasuo in their highlight videos, as we see Kez getting his belly into places it shouldn't be, which is Santorin's jungle. He's not too happy about that, and he gets pushed out. Santorin still has a bit of a CS lead, even though that pressure was there.
Yes, sir.
Dyrus just hitting ass, burning down the minions right in front of the turret. Actually pretty hard for Seraph to get that early CS without having the cooldowns on Vlad. Yeah,
Vlad needs a few levels before he can start picking up. I like how both those guys started boots, because they know how critical move speed is in that matchup between Vladimir and Rumble.
That shard damage coming through for Smoothie. They have the Ignite, though. Maybe they can go hard once the fight hits. If you get popped up and Lustboy can't get that exhaust down, Latman might be able to poke from the outside. All easier said than done. And got a little ways before they're going to get those ultimate fights on. Easy clears here for Bjergsen in the mid lane with Time Winder, leaving Bishu to his turret, and not too bad in CS on either side there. Bjergsen actually missing a few in his haste to clear and get back, but he's not going to have too much trouble. Double ring?
Yeah. A little bit of extra mana regen. Although we've seen a lot of Echoes go double Dorns into Morel and Omicron, and it seems like they have an abundance of mana, especially with a Crystalline Flask. So I feel like that was just Bjergsen saw the window with the wave pushed up that he was going to end up going back to base, getting a little bit more immediate power, because there's going to be some frequent fights in this lane, maybe even a level 6, so he wants to make sure he has as much power as possible for those fights. You can see Bishu's actually echoing that, also going double Dorans. Both these guys have the
no pun intended
idea to fight.
No pressure on the Latman there. They were just playing the minion wave, playing it safe. Actually hits that without too much vision. And it looks like Lustboy is definitely ready to get an attack on here. Slowly moving back and forth, I should say, but not really giving away that they want to get that engage on. Just a few light pings out. Santorin clearing the pink. I don't think Kez is going to be able to do too much off this. So Santorin's Rek'Sai early game, haven't seen too much of it just yet. He was able to pretty much stop Kez on getting in early.
Yeah, Kez had that nice invade, but wasn't able to draw any blood. And a nice ward there by Santorin at the Raptors of Kez.
Keeping vision on the guy that's calling shots, as well as making some of the plays in the early game. It's the guy you want to keep an eye on. Kez also having a big hand in the first bloods that TDK can get.
Oh dear.
And there it is, the stun they've been holding. It was just when they hit level 5, Latman with no mana as well. So pretty much zero chance that TSM would lose that engage.
Yeah, it's a very troubling lane now for Latman and Smoothie. Down 15 CS before the recall.
And you still not even have the impact of Malphite ult, because they can just Malphite ult you back.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
Wind wall's down, they both flash over it. He tries to clear the side. Bishu keeps himself alive. Nicely done there. Had to blow both and the exhaust, and that's pretty much what saved his life.
Yeah, wind wall blocked the coming back of the Chrono Break, and then when Bjergsen popped his, of the Time Winder. These echo skills are going to get him eventually. Fight in the top lane.
Chemo Plague down onto Dyrone. He just shields himself up. He's fine. Nice try by Seraph. He is starting to get that lane back in his favor, though, as he starts to get a few levels.
I'll get this one right. In the Echo versus Yasuo duel, Yasuo was able to win wall the second half of Time Winder and then get out of range before Bjergsen could Chrono Break him, therefore making the nice escape on the gank.
Bingo.
Wind wall timing in this matchup is so important, since it's one of the ways Echo accesses the end of his burst combo.
Very trickily played. Bishu keeping those tense moments under the turret in his favor. Maybe they might be back, though, to rinse and repeat. That was the second time quickly we had seen Santorin mid to shut down Bishu. And that time they were actually able to get a few summoners. No real lead in any lane but the 80 carries, as we saw Wild Turtle and Lustboy pushing out Latman and Smoothie. But you can't expect that to work as the best lane against a top-tier North American team in the first place. So you either pressure it a ton with Kez, or you try to just keep things safe.
Yeah, and we saw Lost Boy talking before. They don't really think there's any way TDK can win unless they get some type of early game snowball going.
Yeah, that's
so
falling away.
Very conservative macro game early on from TSM, having faith that as long as they just don't fall behind, they'll be able to do fine.
Love watching these Echo games. As soon as a champion comes out, you kind of compare what pros are doing and whatnot. Still have yet to see the big plays. But you definitely see a lot of Echoes farming with that phase dive for the last bit of CS. Not too much mana cost, it's super easy to use.
Pawn had a really interesting Echo over in the LPL. He was one of the people that probably used the Echo ultimate most successfully. He invested a lot into it, but sometimes he kind of be in an aggressive place, flash away, which then was better access to baiting people into his ultimate afterwards, and he got off some pretty nice ults, but at a high cost.
Comes back. Target focus enough for your shadow to get in the right spot. Very, very hard thing to do. It's kind of why people say Echo is very hard to use in competitive play. It's like you don't chase an Echo, you don't chase a Singed. Just don't go behind
Whoa!
him. What a phase dive. They just literally smacked heads together as they went in for that. Bjergsen just smirks and walks away. Still pressure from Team Solomid. They're not even really getting any aggression out of TDK here. TDK is collapsing, but it's just to push TSM out. They've been able to get all the wards they want and all the information out of that small invade here, and they're not really giving up just yet. Again, Lustboy and Santorin making their way in.
Trying to persistently invade this blue buff.
It's like, would you like to help Flatman or get your blue buff? How about no? Oh, he's gonna cook him down. Chemo Plague's on. It's the last bit of damage. They both flash it. Wow, Seraph gets a 1v1 on Dyrus.
And that's the only lane that had been winning for TDK. Seraph goes for the Spectre's Cow first for a little bit of tankiness, and in the sustained fight takes down Dyrus in a 1v1. That's gotta feel good.
They're gonna both be back at it as well. Teleport's not used by either of them. Maybe Dyrus can get back into a fight that would put him back in the game here if the team can hold it for long enough. Also, Seraph could be joining in here if he wanted to after that kill. Parallel convergence, separate the fight for a little bit, and looks like that's gonna be all both teams have to say about that one. So the fight, or the kill rather, not coming from the blue buff fight, but from Seraph's 1v1 in the top lane.
Yeah, now that Seraph has that Hextech revolver, he is going to be a sustained monster. Maxing his transfusion as well on Vladimir. That's going to be a real tough lane for Dyrus now. Even if they have Wild Turtle down here in the bottom lane.
Oh! Is there a ward in that brush? What
No, that
reaction
was
time.
really fast
Holy
reaction.
crap.
Like, that's incredibly impressive. There is obviously a low ping environment right here, but the reaction time required to flash a flash ult Malphite. Wow, that was really quick by Wild Turtle.
Fast fingers right there.
Because a lot of times Malphites flash first, so
See if he did.
yeah,
did
he flashed
shard
into
for
the
vision?
brush.
No,
Let
no.
me see. No, he walked in.
Whoa! Whoa!
Jeez. The amount of time he had to react to that is
Hot
split
damn.
seconds.
All right, we got a fight in the mid lane though. Bjergsen gets hit up immediately. Chrono break back. He gets about 20% of his HP back. Not doing too bad for himself. And they are going to lock things down now. Bishu gets crushed down. Santorin picks up one there for himself. And they finally get back onto Bishu. Very nicely done by Team Solomid to even up the game in kills.
Yep, Bjergsen able to ult away a lot of that damage from Yasuo, leaving Bishu with very little to run away with. Collapse comes a little bit sooner from TSM as well, which ultimately grants the kill. So just well played overall by TSM, being in position first.
In position pretty much everywhere they need to be so far. 1K gold lead allows them to start controlling the game. This is where they start to kind of just dissect their opponents very slowly and methodically. We're gonna have Lustboy going back. Doesn't look like he picks up too much for himself, but recharges to get some more wards out. And those mobility boosts. Seraph here, still the saving grace to see if he can do anything in these team fights. You have the Hemo Plague amping the damage of Bishu on top of a unstoppable forest. There's a lot of lockdown here that could take TSM off guard in these team fights.
Yeah,
TDK
one good
can get
Malphite
them.
ultimate that isn't instantly flashed away from.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see too many of those again this game. Sweeping Blade, Bishu just getting his flow up and safely in lane. We got the rotation now for Team Solomid down to the bottom side of the map. The majority means a little bit of dragon time. Or dive and then dragon time. It looks like somebody's gonna die in this one. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Five-man dive to only 2 people.
Dyrus TP already, so Dragon has to come with this, whether they get the kills or not. And it doesn't look like Smoothie's going to make it out alive. Latman tries the flash and Valkyrie to one side. Turrets onto Santorin, no trouble there. And Team Solomid, like I said, it's going to be methodical as they start to press their lead. Get a 5-man dive on the bot lane. Should be coming up with Dragon after this. Or not, they're back in. There's
something
too many
TSM's
members.
been able to do in a couple of games. They did it against CLG as well, just a 5-man party in the bottom lane. It's very rare that a team can do this and not get punished heavily by other lanes, but as right now, they had the mid lane shoved up, top lane had a decent window. Seraph's still going to get a fair bit of stuff though. Kez taking the blue buff. Every time you do a 5-man dive, there is a cost, so it's on a TSM to make those 2 kills worth it.
So they have eyes on Kez. This might push out Seraph a little bit here. Interesting, TSM just wanting the dive, getting the kills for themselves. Santorin says no, actually pulls off the engage in the top lane here. TDK do a nice job at kind of staving off more damage than it could have been. They don't even lose the bottom turret on that. Just the lane that's already been getting hurt. 97 to 121 in that CS between Latman and Wild Turtle. Almost said Santorin is dove out of the way there. Whoa, Bjergsen.
Give me that shield.
Getting his aggression on for sure. So he did go the Morello Namicon as well. It feels good. You just need that cooldown.
Yeah. TDK probably needing to make a bit of a move, but honestly, this early game's been very slow. Very, very slow. It seems like TSM is playing very safe against this unconventional team composition from TDK, but that puts them at risk, honestly. TSM made a 40-minute mistake in a team fight against Team Dignitas. Would not want to make one here. Oh. Look at that.
I like what Bjergsen did there, but he actually put himself closer to Kez on accident. He gets the hit over onto Bishu. Bjergsen gets out alive with the skin of his teeth on that.
Wow. Really impressive play right there by Bjergsen.
That was incredibly impressive because he made an error showing himself to Kez at first. He tried to Fog of War parallel convergence, dive in with Santorin, but was spotted out and was still able to right the wrong.
It's so hard to estimate the amount of damage you're actually doing to Echo, because if you don't kill him cleanly, he will use that ultimate to heal up so much. And that's how he keeps turning around these kills. Bishu with the exhaust on Yasuo just always seems to be ineffective. Then again, he'd just heal up the I feel like the Ignite would help negate some of the healing.
TSM now gets enough power to go for Dragon. Easy peasy for them. The Bloodthirster for Wild Turtle as well, as their core items are already starting to be finished. The only one we're really looking at was Bishu's Static Shiv recently, and that Woda keeping Seraph nice and healthy in the top lane here. So more focus has been on Bishu this game, making sure he's not the guy that can wipe out these team fights when it comes to it. Like I said, you have that Malphite, that Gragas, and Seraph that's going to be able to go in all the time. Bishu can finalize those kills. TSM's going to have a hard time in this game.
Yeah, still not a very impressive game thus far by TSM. I mean, they're up 1,000 gold on a team that's 0-5 playing with subs and got nearly perfect game by Team Impulse yesterday. TSM will definitely have wanted to play this game much more cleanly. Win is still not yet secured against TDK. They're doing their best, though, to do some rotational play that TDK has been weak at keeping up with throughout their stay in the LCS. So just try and get this turret advantage.
Yeah. Seraph, the time has come, says TSM. They will soon be in your lane to take your turret. He will not have all the farm in the world to himself anymore. Oh, parallel convergence over on a Smoothie. He may be a Malphite, but he is a support Malphite. Time Winder on the way back does the majority of damage. Now Santorin gets the majority of Bishu's ult with the Kag on the other side. And Bjergsen getting out full HP. They're kind of just looking right now at a Smoothie with low HP. He gets out. A very nice equalizer actually on the team coming through. TSM still wants this. It seems like it was a bit hesitated though. Seraph making a transfuse kill here. Chrono break by Bjergsen, but he puts himself in a bad spot while being able to get a kill. And it's Seraph now starting to pick up kills. Dyrus a few more for himself. Kez can't figure out if he does want to or not go back in. He chooses to head out as Wild Turtle still could have been the bigger factor there along with Dyrus. What a back and forth fight. We're definitely have to get another look at that.
Yeah, very crazy fight right there. The main skill I noticed, though, was Dyrus' equalizer, getting a lot of work done in there. Seraph came in late, got good damage down, but ultimately was the equalizer that put the 4-for-3 in the favor of TSM. So TDK trying to desperately push TSM out of their jungle right here. So good start to the fight here. Chain stunning Smoothie, but he still gets his ultimate off onto Santorin, who is what the Astro Vault jumps down onto. Then they knock him back with the Gragas ultimate while Dyrus isn't there. So temporarily it's a 5v3 because they kill him so quickly, but Lustboy goes in for Flash Tibbers, really trying to chain the stuns with the parallel convergence. Doesn't quite get it there. Bishu probably shouldn't have gone back in, but you could tell the call was to fight because Seraph was going in anyway, so he did any damage he could. Bjergsen is able to Time Winder some of that damage back, then end up trading kills, but Dyrus strong at the end of the day. Chrono Break. Why is the ultimate Time Winder when he's... if he's winding time, that's what he's doing with his ultimate.
Chronologically, it's like time, you're breaking chrono.
Yeah, I need
That's the way it is.
Read up on my time.
What I do
Source.
like about what happened in that, actually, in the interaction-wise, is that Bjergsen had Hemoplague on, and that time actually was longer than what Bjergsen had to get back, so he ulted and Hemoplague still did its majority amount of damage as soon as he got back to the fight. So he took a huge burst and went down instantly. This little treat there, Hemoplague kind of working against the Echo ultimate, and definitely working in favor of TDK for a bit of that fight. 32,000 gold to 28 now. TDK staying within range to really make this a very good game against Team Solomid. And now they really push to the wayside. Parallel conversions, such a great spell for being able to just distribute people in an area and get them out of there.
TSM's got a couple of squishy targets right here. If Bishu is able to farm to a point where he can actually get an Infinity Edge, because Bjergsen's not going to be building too many resistances, the threat of a one-shot onto the Echo becomes more and more real. Malphite ulting on top of an Infinity Edge Yasuo comboing and just bursting him down during the duration of CC.
One of the things why I love Bjergsen's second item, Zanya's pretty much guarantees you can get that ultimate off. Nobody else is mashing R harder than you are coming out of that. Moving up here, TSM finally, again, putting their foot down. They say, this is where we need to go. We can pretty much avoid most of TDK, sorry, as we do this. Also a good bit of move by TDK. One after the other. TSM will rinse and repeat, finally take down these turrets. But will they make the mistakes that have plagued them in the later parts of the game now? They have to avoid doing that. It's only 20 minutes in. Maybe we get 10 minutes before that starts to happen, but hopefully they can keep it from happening.
Yeah, TSM has not played the cleanest games this year, starting at 3-2, but they had pretty big gold leads in both of the games they've lost. So there's work that TSM needs to do to clean up all of these things. And we mentioned at the start of the game, TSM typically does win against the bottom tier teams, and TDK at 0-5 is definitely that type of team.
One more time.
Needs to be clean. Dragon coming up in 30 seconds with great ward control from TSM.
Prepping the bottom turret, be taken down. They will be able to get back here in time as well. Home guards up onto Dyrus. Don't see too many more, but it looks like they should be able to make the long haul out here. He's getting mid lane push, so TDK has something else to think about here as they set things up nice and easy for this dragon fight. Like you said, got to watch for those ultimates. Smoothie on the Malphite. Kaz coming in, trying to disperse the team as well with that explosive cast.
Melting Seraph's face, Dyrus says. Leandry's an Abyssal. So a very strong Rumble at this point of the game. Got the magic penetration. Fully decked out.
Helping him a little bit against Latman and Seraph in these engages. Kaz won't tear right through him either. TSM getting the majority, getting goal side, if you will, here to Dragon. They're going to make TDK have to force right through if they want any bit of this. And TSM definitely has the World War I at this point. There's another flash. Dyrus also with the fast fingers this game. That's a huge ultimate. For one member they tried to use there, knowing the equalizer would actually win the dragon fight. It now is the thing pushing them away from the dragon fight. They're on to Seraph. He gets a good Hemo Plague down, but there's no follow-up damage, so they're not going to be able to do much. Wild Turtle flashes over the wall to start this one off. That's going to be the parallel conversion shield also on to Bjergsen as he goes for Bishu. He'll get out alive, and TDK real good at disengaging right now, and they need to be.
Very impressed by the flashes from TSM on Smoothie's Malphite ultimate this game. Another good one by Dyrus. A bit of a mistake there by Lustboy. He flashed in after he launched himself from Callista, and then I don't think he landed a good Tibbers. Some potential kills not quite picked up by TSM after that one, but nonetheless, they get a kill onto Seraph and control Dragon number 2.
Dragon, lane focus. Top lane has to be held accountable for now. Looks like Latman will pick that up, and TSM, a little bit of breathing room to go back and finish up some items.
Yep.
Enough for that needlessly large rod as well for Bjergsen to start getting a little bit bigger. Looks like he's actually going for full to that Zanya's because he just has over 1,600 right now. So he'll come back and be even more powerful. The ultimates, if they're not hit with flashes, now they're going to miss the Zanya's.
Yeah. Tough life for Smoothie. Real tough life. 4,000.
A bit of Fog of War. It's all TDK needs, right?
It seems like it, but I mean, Smoothie was in the Fog of War, then he flashed out of the Fog of War to instantly ult Wild Turtle and was still flashed away.
Yeah, that's true.
Earlier on in the game.
Come into play already, that's for sure, today for Team Solomid. They do not want any more losses on the board. And they're not really giving TDK a chance here by overextending it all either. Any wards they place is how far they go, and they've never gone past that. 4,000 gold lead now at 25 minutes in the game. Looks like TSM is going to be on the front doorstep quite soon here. With actually only 2 dragons to them, so no real threat for TDK to have to worry about that pressure of aspect. But Baron probably going to be coming up quite soon. You got the Hurricane and Turtle with the Bloodthirster now, so you chunk that right down.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Not impressive build by Wild Turtle. Pretty standard build by Wild Turtle.
Yeah, impressive game.
He's had good Callista games. Being able to consistently get his farm. It's TSM's highest priority champion, it feels like, for a reason. But honestly, TSM needs to pick up the pace here against TDK. They're most likely going to win this game. They know Callista outscales the Corki. They feel like they can neutralize the Yasuo. But if Sarah's Vladimir does get to a super strong point, and if Smoothie does have an ultimate that doesn't get dodged out of, then there's still some team fight potential from this TDK team.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unthinkable that TDK would be in a position to even make an upset against Team Solomid.
And this should be the point, as you were saying, with kind of who they're playing against, a sub-team, where they do go for those attacks, they do go for those kills. Because if you think of the ever-looming MSI, world-class teams aren't going to pause like this. They're going to continuously crush you down, especially against a sub-team. They'll take every advantage that they can. So this pause of TSM would be another team getting back in as much as they can.
Yes, it would. You need to have a killer instinct on the world stage. Otherwise, a team like SK Telecom, as we even saw at MSI, would come back from 8 and 10,000 gold fairly routinely against top teams from other regions. So, very important to be able to close.
This looks like the shot calling is coming out from Team Solomid. Organized in their movement here. Power in numbers, that's for sure. The teleport could be where they get the upper hand here. There's a hit. Another one on the Smoothie. Gonna do that all game.
Or, as long as they keep poking Smoothie down, he's such a squishy support Malphite.
Yep.
It makes an ultimate in from him usually just end up in immediate death. Pretty good poke that's come out from Bjergsen's Echo as well. There he goes, though.
The Echo ultimate actually right on the team. He's not going to be able to use it anymore for damage. There's a kill going on to Wild Turtle immediately. He even used the Summoner heal there for the team. That is Bishu going down. Latman on the outside, ready to hit some damage. Lustboy is on the top charging. He can't really come back in yet. They're missing a lot of DPS here, and Latman's still able to fire out with Seraph in the middle of the fight. They push Team Solomid off of this one after TSM for the last 3 minutes was prepping this in the mid lane, poking one after the other.
It's because TDK got the TSM carries. TSM could not have this happen again. in this game, otherwise they risk some serious objective-based consequences.
Wow, no way.
Yeah, and now
Crazy
because the
stuff.
AD carry is alive as well,
Great
TDK
play.
gets to push down the mid lane. Beautiful combo. That's the Malphite Yasuo synergy.
Yep.
And Seraph is getting bigger and bigger that they're not going to be able to take him out in fights. Seraph on 1,000 gold after that one as well. If he ends up getting to his Void Staff, it's going to be a very scary Vladimir.
Well controlled there by TDK. Let's see this again.
Smoothie had been poked down a little bit, but he gets his ult onto Wild Turtle. Bishu ends up going up onto Bjergsen, but Wild Turtle is so pushed back that he just gets completely obliterated. A poor positioning start from Wild Turtle.
Yeah.
Something that had been a problem for Turtle in the past, rectified itself recently during the summer split, but it seems to be back again 2 games in a row now, getting caught out of position. And then Seraph, just no one can deal with him. Everyone just has to scatter.
I mean, it looked good, right? He was with his team, but then you're thinking, wait, I'm around Bjergsen.
Yeah.
I'm around
You're with your
Santorin.
team.
Guys that can get away much faster and have already done so this game.
AD carries need to be with their team, but also separate from their team,
Yeah.
because they need to keep the proper spacing from the threats. It is very difficult to space against a Malphite, but he has to do better than that. He's got to have a Santorin. Uh-oh.
There's that killer instinct, chat, right onto Latman, but do they go too far? Kez gets locked up as well. Whoa, Bjergsen goes so far in. The next phase dive flash, actually, to get the kill. Is it worth, however? Kez now on the chase. It's Lustboy and Wild Turtle. They split a bit, but the team is deciding that they can turn around and fight this one. TSM, a little too much killer instinct.
Yeah, Bjergsen trying real hard there to carry, but he guns way overextending and trading back a kill in a fight where he should have been the one to have a catch. Trading a kill like that is a big no-no.
Right. How much better is it that Latman's low health and he has to go back and base? That's
Exactly.
your turret without
Now it's a
Bjergsen.
Corki down versus an Echo
Yeah.
down, and maybe they're at risk if that brush got blind, ulted.
Ooh, Kez face checks. Oh, the outer layer of fat almost keeps him alive, but they crisp it up. Wild Turtle comes up with that kill along with Dyrus helping him out. He gets the full hit from Bishu on that last breath. One last hit, and he's gonna sweeping blade right through to safety as well. TSM loses 2 more to Kez now. It's just going down for TDK.
Some murmurs of TDK chants coming out of the crowd. This could be a huge upset and TDK's first win in the LCS if they continue winning team fights like this. That was a classic question of which team is at a bigger disadvantage, a team without their mid laner or a team without their AD carry. Big thing is TSM shot caller mid laner Bjergsen is the one gone, whereas Latman, the sub AD carry, is the one missing. TDK had the better synergy in that team fight despite getting jumped on first. They kill Wild Turtle right away. They pick up the Dragon, which gives them good combat stats this late in the game, and they're in position to make a comeback.
I don't have too many tanks either to start approaching this late game. Rek'Sai's building pretty big. Santorin's going to get there, but everything that TSM's doing now, earlier, those guys would have been dead. Kaz would have fallen down there. They would have had the fight, but they're just off a few hundred HP each time now. These tanks are getting bigger. TSM's not able to get the kills they want, and it's really throwing them off the fights from what it looks like. 30 minutes in, we'll see if they can kind of fix that mentality and not want to go for that last 100 bit of health that's really putting them in a bad position throughout the entire fight. 3K gold, TSM still creeping forward in that lead, but TDK is not letting it get much bigger. And boy, have they picked up kills recently. 12-9 now as we get into this matchup. TSM's going to start hesitating on what they want to do, possibly.
Yeah.
That's going to get even worse.
Maybe they already are hesitating right now. Some questionable plays there. Wild Turtle needs to watch himself in these fights. It's so difficult, though, against Malphite Yasuo. Yasuo is 0-4-6, but the pressure that he outputs when comboed with the Malphite, knowing whoever gets Malphite ulted is losing at least half of their health. Some pretty big items getting built up, though.
Bjergsen getting his Lich Bane done.
Oh, he's in a bad spot!
Oh, he's in a very bad spot! You can't echo out of that if you don't hit the ground.
See, TSM's out of sync completely right there. Bjergsen had no reason to be there. They had no ward coverage. The team wasn't near, and TDK is preying on that out of syncness. And now there's just no vision control. TDK is sweeping. They are going to pressure this Baron, maybe try and find a fight. The Sentinel spot him out, though. This could be a moment for TDK to take control.
I like the way they're synergizing items as well, complement each other, allowing that Frozen Heart onto Smoothie's Malphite. Tons of AP for Seraph in the top lane. He almost has a Zhonya's himself, and these guys are starting to tear through the HP bars of Team Solomid. A lot of respect being given now in these fights. Obviously, Bjergsen's not here, but they're just trying to make sure that TDK isn't grabbing a free-to-go Baron right now.
Yeah. TDK still down 3,000 gold.
It doesn't look like it.
Not with the way they're playing.
Man.
Seraph going to clear that big wave in the bottom lane. What a game this is turning out to be. Completely unexpected to have such a close game 33 minutes in here. Seraph would have to teleport in afterwards. Missed initiation.
A hit next to the channel got off. Latman actually took the initial damage from that. Bjergsen goes hard. Lichbane's able to crush down onto Latman there. This is the out. Now they don't engage on the fight. They take the advantage. They keep rolling with it. Double kill going over onto Seraph. Very nicely done as he teleported in for the fight. And it is going to be big now for TSM. That was the mistake they needed TDK to make.
Looked like Lustboy actually got the stun when he went in there, even though it was flashed away afterwards. So they were temporarily disabled for the Rek'Sai to come in, and that led up to a big play from Bjergsen, who's now trying to make an even bigger one.
Oh, dog, you're not that powerful. Zanyas goes off. Can they get over the wall? Here comes the equalizer. They lay out the red carpet for Kaz, and Bishu's going to be in the fight as well. The Zanyas goes down. So does Bishu. That's the ace as Latman comes back up just now.
Clever play there by Bjergsen. He Zonias, and then as he's coming out of the Zonias, his clone is right next to him, so he actually gets the full damage from his ultimate. Ace plus Baron, TSM back in control.
Back in control. Breathe a sigh of relief here as they make their way in. Still probably unhappy with the middle part of that game. Somewhere they continuously fall behind a little bit. This time they have been able to find their way back in. The choose your own adventure is in their favor. And Lustboy hits that ultimate. It was actually quite close to missing as well. We've seen quite a few of those, but they get one that they wanted. Let's see one more time. That's the Baron, actually.
Yeah, this is after the catch from Lustboy and Santorin. So he catches them in the stun, waits a second for the stun, then Zonies, and watch that little guy in the shadows. Boom, props right on top of the equalizer as well to just blow two people up. A 1.3 AP ratio on his chrono break. Able to access the full damage.
It's going to sting. It's going to sting a lot. Also being very big on assassinating people. Bishu now has 2 Zanyas to look at. He's probably not happy. Parallel convergence far ahead, a very long cast range. And you can see how Bjergsen's actually trying to play that into his favor for getting the gigantic shield that you get.
The item differential on the AD carries is pretty massive as well. Latman with the Infinity Edge build after Triforce, so the 2 most expensive AD carry items right there. Wild Turtle has 4 completed items, albeit some cheaper ones. But when you multiply those stats together, Wild Turtle's dealing almost double the damage Latman is with those 4 items.
It's one of the other, right? Latman's trying to get the nice car, have a small house, big house, not a small car. It's one or the other.
But if you just don't have as much money overall,
yeah,
you're never going to be happy.
Probably going to be behind. That guy always losing the Christmas light war. 30 seconds on the Dragon here. This game now going to 36 minutes with Team Solomid having quite a demanding lead in the beginning. Still faltering in their ways of figuring out what they want to do in that mid to late game.
Yeah, the main difference is TSM, when the fights they've won, they're the ones making the initiation rather than having Smoothie ult in on them. So the fight where Lustboy and Santorin made the initiation, huge victory for them. It's what's given them control of the game, but when they've struggled, it's been Wild Turtle or Bjergsen walking in a strange place for some farm and getting caught up.
Like the jungle fights nicely favor both teams. So you get a few Vlad ults with a nice Yasuo ult, but then you don't want to be in the Rumble Annie. It's going to be a different fight without vision here, and TSM is starting to cut that vision down quite a bit in the jungle of TDK. Almost impossible for them to even contest their resources now as they lose blue after blue and red after red. It's like the split push as well is going to start bringing all the lanes up to the base of TDK here, so pressure is going to start spreading them thin. We'll see how they react to this.
Yeah, been able to grow the gold lead to 10,000.
That went quick, actually.
Yeah, it was pretty much all from the Ace plus Baron.
Yeah.
Because at the time of the Ace, there was actually some bounties that are built up on TDK since TDK was in the midst of a comeback.
Good point.
Making the swing back even more pronounced.
Lustboy, Lonely Wanderer. What's he doing? Just says hi to the Scuttle Crab, I guess. Just makes his way out. 17 to 11 here as we enter 38 minutes, coming up on 40. TSM slowly working their way back to the side of TDK's map here.
Interesting how Lustboy's actually built a Banshee's film. So if Malphite does catch him in the ultimate for the initiation, Lustboy will be able to counter-initiate very well, since he won't be the one knocked up, and then he can flash ult to stop the follow-up. It's pretty clever. Good item build by Lustboy.
Also has Fate's Call to get him out of sticky situations, so it's like everybody has a Zanya's here.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only way. Yeah, it's pretty much the only way Lustboy can counter the initiation as well, because a Mikhail's would not stop the knockup train.
No, it wouldn't.
The only way he stops it is if he avoids the knockup himself and then stuns the people who would follow up.
I want to see him drink that iron elixir. How big does Annie get?
Not very big. I don't think Annie gets very big.
Are you going to be like body blocking Corky Rocket?
Yeah. Annie becomes normal sized.
What is this? So we'll get Annie the later years in a few minutes when he gets the iron pot on. Oh, that's the fog that they need. And look at, you said the teams have to stay together, but the AD carry has to stay different, chat, and that's what Wild Turtle's doing. Off to the side. If anything went crazy, he would not be in the Malphite ulti. Parallel conversions for a little bit of vision, and they're not going to be able to get anything out of it. TDK is like, we know what you're doing. We're not falling for that. Walking into a dark jungle right now would be the game.
Absolutely it would be.
Looks like this push might be able to do a little bit. It's not a whole heck of a lot of wave clear without them having to get into range. And you can already see that Smoothie wants that engage on the team. As soon as they see him, they hightail it out of there.
I heard the sound. Lustboy drank the iron elixir. Look at that giant Annie. It's like almost the size of Rumble.
It's like a bobblehead Annie now.
Kind of, yeah.
All right. He's like the size. Oh, she is the size of Callista.
Main thing is now when he flashes in, he puts the path of iron behind him and people can follow in.
There you go. He has those distortion boots to make sure his flash is up and ready, which it is. And they are getting pushed off of this quite hard. It might be hard for TDK to clear this. They can just cycle each other in and out well enough to not lose that much HP. So a failed attempt by Team Solomid. They tried to not go too hard under the turret.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that.
They're half-hearted engages. But now they're a little bit spread out. They see Echo in the top lane and TDK.
Righteous glory. Nope.
Nice talisman there by Lustboy.
He wants back in.
TSM is basically waiting for the next Baron, or hoping that TDK makes a mistake in the meanwhile. But they've had TDK in their base for so long. This is the way you get the very best vision control over Baron, is not necessarily by sweeping it out, but by making sure no one leaves the enemy base for 5 minutes. So nothing but a pink ward would be able to withstand that long of a wait, and you're going to see a pink ward walk through your own jungle. So once the Baron respawns, TSM can breadcrumb ward from TDK's base to the Baron, and also know that there's no vision of them at the Baron pit.
Right here already, there's two trailing behind them to keep safe. Bishu will not have that third Steel Tempest coming in to get initiation off for himself. Charge that up hopefully on these minions. Back and forth here, this yo-yo game between the Baron pit and TDK's base. TSM trying to catch TDK in that perfect engage. Bjergsen always up front, trying to put that shadow in the right spot as well as maybe get an engage. Right now he's playing a good amount of distraction game. Chrono Break isn't anything he wants to hit just yet. Baron is peeled off by Team Solomid. Lustboy just out of range to start taking down Kaz, and I don't think they wanted to start on the big man.
Yeah, afraid to go for the all-in trade there.
Quite low there, Bjergsen, on your mana.
Bjergsen, half mana, 3/4 health. Santorin, let's say 4/6 health right now.
Yeah.
And there's a fight. They got Wild Turtle. Oh my God.
Bishu actually gets that as well. He gets right into the middle. Goes back in on to Wild Turtle. Crushes him down. We're now watching Seraph take down Wild Turtle as well. These guys are just making it happen. Bishu looks for Bjergsen. He gets him. Santorin now is doing what he can as they claw through. And even though TDK was on the outside of the fight looking in, it's TSM that comes up with a win there.
It looked like Bjergsen pulled off some pretty sick moves in order to win that fight. Wild Turtle got focused down really heavily, but it looked like Echo did the majority of people's damage in that fight. So TDK, they tried to find that fight. They withstood 42+ minutes of TSM, and now they lose their inhibitor.
The same thing I think that confused me there was I thought Bishu took down Wild Turtle, but it was Seraph. They had a lot too much focus on a guy that was already going to die.
Well, it's tricky with Blade of the Ruin King and Bloodthirster. It's not an easy task
That's
to take
true.
down a Callisto.
Get
You
away
have to
with
make sure
a
to
bit
get
of
all the health down at once. So watch this. They burn the Wind Wall a little bit early too, so Wind Wall doesn't block anything. And then it's Lustboy with the Tibbers right on top of the initiation to try and save people. But main thing is Bjergsen diving all the way in to finish off the AD carry, and then he ultimates back in for damage onto Seraph and Kez, which was critical in this fight. Yes, they take him down afterwards, but by that point, since he had taken down the main carries, damage-wise, the damage was done. But they just get an inhibitor off of it. Still a lot of work to do.
But it shouldn't. It seems like they should be in the base now. We're getting pretty full items in this game. I mean, Thornmail now onto Santorin.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
for
gonna be pretty
TSM,
much for Bishu.
for TSM, this is a hugely disappointing game. Like, this is a team that has world aspirations.
Yeah.
They had an incredibly poor performance at MSI, and they are just not looking like a quality worldwide team. They're struggling against an 0-5 NALCS team that is playing with subs, and they're 2 subs, I think, now. Smoothie just joined.
Right.
And
you're
it's a 44-minute game, and they're still not secured victory. A very sloppy game here from Team Solomid.
Saying that the scrims would go well, and then the scrims would go wrong, and then they couldn't transfer any of the wrong, or they couldn't not transfer any of the wrong, I should say, into games. It just followed them like a plague. They had said they didn't really know what the reason was. They felt good going into game, but they still produced the results of their scrims at MSI. Very interesting kind of scenario to go through is up, down, stay down.
Yeah.
When you kind of have the hopes and hype of going into an international event.
Yes, buddy.
He gets out safely.
The fights are so quick now as well. When Seraph is off pushing, even though he has his teleport up, the risk is very high. So there's so much initiation potential from TDK here. I think that's the main reason TSM isn't playing around the Baron Pit that heavily.
Yeah.
But especially with Callista, Rumble, and Echo, and even Annie, like, at this point of the game, they just need to tank with Rek'Sai, do a bunch of damage to the Baron, and then turn if TDK approaches through your line of wards. But they're heavily respecting this Malphite Yasuo combo.
This is where TSM got into some trouble last time, right in that corridor. They head for the top side. This should be another inhibitor turret. They can set up a wall of defense there. Flatman going to try to pinch around with Smoothie and the rest of the team. Wards, however, keeping TSM safe on this. And again, thwarted on their attempt. They're just going to have to, go for Baron. Too much playing around here, too much time giving TDK to clear minions on the way in, and it's Dyrus is going to be the one here on the outside. The Equalizer would be a very nice slow on the entire team right through that choke.
Hey.
TDK can't do much, and it's going to be quite hard for them to clear these minions as well once the Baron minions start hitting the turrets.
Congratulations, TSM gets the Baron. 4 dragons. They also have another win condition at potentially 5.
Yeah, that's true. Getting close as well.
It's a very defensive build by Bishu's Yasuo as well. And yes, he's been dying a lot, but as far as the way that TDK would have won this game, it's fairly closed now. 2 Banshee's Veils to stop the Malphite combo, and even if they pull off the combo, the Yasuo doesn't have enough damage to actually kill someone. So they need to break the Banshee's Veils with the Corki Rockets.
Yep, they actually just got a nice one with the shard from Smoothie. That went onto Lustboy. Could have been a nice hit onto him, but I'm sure they want Bjergsen just as much as they want the engage. Bjergsen's in, crushing down that turret along with Wild Turtle. That Lichbane damage doing some nice hits. TDK could try to go for broke here. Lustboy just putting himself right up front, says, here you go, here's Tibbers. Bjergsen takes down Smoothie, and TDK is going to have to fight this one to the Nexus turrets. They let the inhibitor go down smartly, but they do not want to have that happen. Flies right in. Bjergsen instantly hits the Zanya. Is going to be able to Chrono Break back, and he kills Latman with the Chrono Break right onto Seraph. Now Bjergsen could go down. Seraph actually can't get any more transfusions out to hit him. Actually, he gets him with the Hemo Plague as well. We talked about that earlier. And Seraph finally hits the deck. They're going to start hitting the Nexus turrets on the side of Team Solomid. TDK's base now in shambles. It took quite a while, 47 minutes for TSM to finally get to the Nexus, but they are able to pick up a win, now going 4-2. 47 minutes in, Team Solomid takes down TDK.
And you said it there in the wrap-up, Riv, but it took them quite a while. which I guess is all you can think of coming into this game. Yes, TSM is 3-2 against an 0-5 TDK, but championship aspirations and 2 consecutive split championships in North America is this TSM team coming into the split with exactly the same roster that won in the spring split. And you can kind of see it on their faces. They want to do better than that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for TDK, the sub squad again had a fairly valiant game, much better than their game yesterday against Team Impulse. But at the end of the day, still staring at the defeat screen.
Very unfortunate. What to come is the question for those gentlemen on Team Dragon Knights. What will the new members of the team do? They're still putting up plays here and there, even in their games where they're down. So will the full composition of that main roster be able to pull them in wins starting in week 4 if they do have Ninja and Emperor back on the team?
Yeah, it's true. The season, hopefully for TDK, starts next week, assuming they can finally get Ninja and Emperor into the team. So many complications.
Again, chatting with Seraph, who worked so hard to get back to the spot. His solo kill on Dyrus with Vladimir in the top lane for naught in the end,
Yeah.
with the fight the team Solomid put up.